You ever been bullied? I'm guessing so, because you clicked on this e-girl YouTube video. So, if you haven't guessed by what I just said, or the title, we're talking about bullying today, because I've been bullied quite a lot, and I feel like if I'm gonna get problems from it mentally, I might as well make money from it by talking about it online. So, if you're watching this and you knew me in high school, or any kind of school, no you didn't, and I will be changing the name, so if you did bully me and you happen to be watching this, don't worry. Maybe worry a little. No, but I'm gonna be changing all of the names, and we're just gonna talk about some lovely bullying stories. So if any of you are in school or just need something to laugh at, here you go. So I've been bullied quite a few times, I know, shocker, but I feel like they all make really good stories, so let's dive into it. I hope this makes you guys feel better. One of the first times I got bullied, I've been bullied by a lot of my own friends, I swear, and I'm really bad at reading like social cues, so somebody can bully me and I'm just like, when's lunch? Like it just goes right over my head sometimes. I can realize it now, like when I look back, I'm like, dude, they were like making fun of you. But in the moment, I'm like, no, like they're my friends, like we're just joking and laughing. Like my friend, let's call her Judy. I met her in like elementary, but this is middle school, so like 6th grade. And Judy would say like super condescending like things to me, almost like what you would think like a mean like stepmother would say in movies, you know? That's kind of how Judy treated me. Like she would tell me like my pores were way too big for makeup and she was really thankful that like she didn't look like me. Or she would just make fun of little things about me like that, but I had no other friends, so I was like, yo, this is not meant to be sad, don't worry. I'm fine. But I was like, yo, like I don't have any other friends, like, and Judy's like just joking with me, like it's fine. So I would always like brush these things under the rug, right? Until Judy met Catherine. So Catherine and Judy were super close, and because Judy liked her, I was like, well, I should like her, you know, like we can all be friends. But that didn't quite work out because around the same time I got my first boyfriend, and he was pretty popular, not Troy Bolton popular or Corbin Blue popular, but he was like skater boy, like flippy hair, like go me back then, it was my type. So I started dating this guy, and Judy and Catherine did not like that. They were very angry because they liked him and they wanted him to date them and like them. So I would sit with them all the time at lunch, and they would just sit there and bully me and make fun of me, and I told nobody. I was too afraid to tell my mom because I didn't want her, like, not that she would get mad at me, but I didn't want her to flip out. And then I didn't want to say anything to my friends because they were my only friend. So I just put up with this for a very, very long time. As you can see, it did me great. But they were just very petty, very bitter people towards me. So yeah, that was super fun. And you'd think like, oh, Aviva, that's a great story, I'm so glad it ends there. It doesn't. I don't want this to get dark, but I did have a friend that passed away the same year that all of this was happening, and right after he passed away, I continued going to school because I don't know, that's just how I coped. So I kept going to school, but this, like, you'd think that these girls would be like, oh, like, Aviva's going through a lot, like, let's back off. Nope. They, like, by that point, I kind of slowly stopped talking to them a little bit, and I didn't really want to be around them because they made me really sad, and I was already sad. So I didn't want that in my life, obviously. But Judy and Catherine went to the school counselor, our poor, unsuspecting school counselor, and said to her, hey, we've been like fighting with Aviva a lot, and we really think that we should apologize. So they asked if they could take me out of class and take me into the hallway and apologize to me. You see where this is going? Maybe. So they proceeded to do that because my counselor was like, hell yeah, like look at these girls going to apologize, like I must be doing something right. And so Judy and Catherine walk on down, pull me out of class, and now I'm in the hallway. And so I'm like standing there, I'm like, what's up? And I'm terrified. I am shaking. Like Miss Non-Confrontation being forced into a situation like that, I was crying inside. And then they just proceeded to bully me in the hallway, which, like, I know you're probably like, poor Aviva, but please laugh. They went off on me for no reason. I was just hanging out. But they were telling me that they were like, nobody cares what you're going through. Nobody cares that like your friend passed away. Anyway, and then they were like, just bullying me and losing their shit. So before you get too sad and you're like, this is not the video I want to watch, I go home and I'm crying. I'm walking home from the bus stop. Tears are running down my face. I'm probably listening to like Dear John by Taylor Swift. I don't know. And I walk in my house and my mom is in bed ready for her nap. Like she's over the day and she sees me crying and she's like, what's going on? And so I proceed to tell her what happened. And when I tell you I have never seen my mom launch out of bed so goddamn fast in her life, she literally like threw a jacket on, like got ready and then turned to me and she was like, I will be home in 30 minutes, like lock the doors. And she marched her ass out and slammed the door and I was like, oh, there goes my mom. So my mom proceeded to go to the school, shocker, and she went and she talked to the, I think they had like an assistant principal at the time, I don't know. But she basically went and talked to the principal and the principal was very terrified of my mother and my mom was raging. She missed the rage. She didn't even have to miss the rage was her. And my mom was like, hey, why did your counselor let these girls come bully my daughter? And like the whole school knew that my friend passed away too, because it was just something that everybody knew. And so my mom was like, this is going on and like this is what you let happen to my daughter? And so my principal is terrified and she like says that she wants to bring me, Judy, and Catherine all into the office the next day and have us have like a big like I'm sorry therapy session where we really just get to the root of this problem. And my mom was not having this. I wouldn't have either, but my mom was not having this. And she turned to the principal and said, I am not having any of this rainbow bullshit that you're having right now, but this will not be happening, and proceeds to like yell at my principal basically. So we did end up having like the little like, my principal did call us all to the office and the girls apologized and that was that really. But I ended up being friends with them along like afterwards. Like one of them, Judy, I ended up being friends with her years later, which like I know. But that story I just like, I always like think about because I didn't really understand what was happening to me, which kind of makes the story funny to me, was that like these girls were just bullying me. They hated me. And I was like, okay, like that's fine. And I literally like didn't do anything about it until it got to like the most extreme extent. So that's the whole story. But like, isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Now, you know, that was a lot. You know, that was a really, 6th grade was a really hard year for me. Tough year. I know, crazy. I'm like 12 years old and things are already getting rough. So the next story, I'm gonna tell these a little bit out of order because I'm just kind of going off what my brain remembers right now. And this is a juicy one. Now, I was in high school at this point. I think I had just dropped out. So it is kind of out of school, but I made these friends in school. So this like counts. So I had a friend, oh my God, I need to think of another name. Let's call her Betsy. I had this friend named Betsy. And Betsy, I'm gonna be honest, she's stunning. She's gorgeous. I still think that. Even when I don't like someone, I can recognize that. She's beautiful. And I had known her since 5th grade. And she was another one of those friends that like I was friends with. Like we kind of had some like a little arguments like here and there, and then we went to different schools and then reconnected afterwards, something like that. So I ended up being friends with her as I got like throughout the years that I got a little older, and I was about like 16, 17 at the time. She would come over all the time. I had me and we had a couple other girls that are our friends as well, which they're not like, not that they aren't important to the story. They were very important friends to me at the time, but they're not really like part of this story, except for one of them, who we will call, I'm literally gonna call her Zelda because Legend of Zelda, and that's the only thing I can think of right now. So Zelda had taken one of my sweatshirts, which like wasn't that big of a deal, but I was kind of upset about it because I asked for it back like 3 times and she would not bring it. She would wear it to my house or like wear it over to like one of my like Betsy's house, like take pictures in it, FaceTime me in it, but like never give it back. And it was starting to irritate me because I really liked it. And so I was talking to Betsy about this and we were just like sitting on my bed, and I was not talking crap. Like I'll admit when I am, you know, but I wasn't really even saying anything bad. I was just saying like, I really don't like that Zelda took my sweatshirt and like she won't give it back and she won't even like acknowledge it. And we were just speaking about it, and I think we were talking about something else too, but it was a little bit more personal for like me to tell on YouTube. So we were just talking about stuff, but I was not saying anything bad. But as I'm talking to Betsy, I look down for a second because I see her move, and Betsy has her phone on Snapchat and she's recording everything I'm saying. And literally like I just like look at it and I look back up and she stops it and turns her phone over and she's like, oh, like, so do you want to go like to Target or whatever we were like going to do? And And I was just like, yeah, like, let's go. And so I hung out with Betsy until, like, you know, it was time for like Betsy to go or whatever. And then right after, I texted Zelda and our other friends, and I was like, hey, Zelda, I just want to let you know, like, this is exactly what I said. This is what I said about you. And while I'm not like telling you this right now because I'm upset, I'm telling you because, like, our friend Betsy just literally recorded me talking. And I was like, I have no shame telling you exactly what I said. I was like, but that's kind of like f***ed up, don't you think? Let me just say that Betsy, like, no offense to Betsy, but she did talk a lot of crap, like a lot, all the time. So her like recording me and like, I don't know, just being so weird about it was like, wow, like you're really gonna do that? So I proceeded to tell all my friends everything that was happening and that she would speak like behind their backs. And I literally just told them all I didn't want to be friends anymore after that, because I was like, that's shady. Like, I don't need those kinds of friends in my life. Like, what kind of friend group are we if we're recording each other, talking about each other, and then hanging out? Like, it was just really toxic. So I just like, I got myself out of it because like, it wasn't good for me. I didn't feel good about it. Like, I don't know, it was just weird, but I love telling that story because like the audacity of Betsy just recording me speaking. Like, why? What was the point? What were you gonna do with that? Like, were you gonna be like, look, Aviva was mad that you stole her sweatshirt? Like, of course I'm gonna be upset. Like, I don't know. It's just mind-boggling to me that people like this exist. And honestly, I hope she sees this. Like, message me. Why did you do that? I literally don't even know. That's so crazy. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well if you see this. That's nice. So, this story was in middle school, and I think it was about 6th or 7th grade. Now, like I said earlier, the guy that I dated in 6th grade was not Troy Bolton, but this next guy that I'm talking about, we're literally gonna call him Troy Bolton because he is Troy Bolton. He is. He just is. He doesn't look like Troy Bolton, but like like same whole thing minus the music. I bet he can sing though. But anyway, I rode the bus with Mr. Troy Bolton and his like gaggle of friends, and they were all like popular, like they were all like just blonde popular like rich kids, and they thought I was a weirdo, which like I am, like I get it, but they not that they didn't like me, they thought I was funny, but it was nothing more than that. Like nothing more than just like turning to me on the bus for jokes or just like seeing them in the hallway, just little things. Now there's some backstory to this shit. Mr. Troy Bolton for a while used to bike over to my house because he was only a few neighborhoods over. He would bike over to my house and he would just text me like, I'm outside, and he would want me to come outside and talk to him, and I would literally stand there. I'd be like, what? Because I did not understand why this motherfucker was at my house. I was young and I was like, what are you doing here? And he like, we barely talked. Like we talked once in a while, but I was like, hi, like what do you want from me? And so we would just do that every once in a while. I let him smash a pumpkin on my driveway one time. I don't know, but either way, that happened. And so the next school year, because that was like kind of during like right before the school year, the next school year, let's call this next girl, let's call her Judith. So Judith comes and sits next to me on the bus one day, and she's like, hey, you know, Troy Bolton actually like has a crush on you. Or I think she handed me a note, and she sat with me, she's like, I have to tell you something, like whatever it was, and she handed me this note, and it was from Troy, and it was like, I like you and I didn't know how else to tell you, like will you date me, or like will you be my girlfriend? It was like whatever that was, and it was like answer me at like the end of the day. So I'm freaking the hell out because I did not think that Mr. Troy Bolton would have a crush on me. Like, I'm no Vanessa Hudgens. Pause your comment. I don't want to hear how I used to look like her. But I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And so I literally was like talking to my friends all day. I was like, oh my God, Troy Bolton likes me. What do I do? Like, I like him, I guess. He's Troy Bolton. And so I was freaking out all day long, just losing it, just freaking out. And so finally we get to the end of the day, and I like wrote back like, I like you, like haha, whatever happened. And then all of them like start laughing at me, and they're like, oh, you actually believed that? And so Judith is laughing just the hardest because, hey Judith, if you're watching this, I know you had a crush on Troy Bolton. I know you did. There's no hiding that. And so she was laughing so hard at me. They were all laughing at me because I thought it was real. And he literally came over and sat with me, and he was like, I'm sorry, but like it wasn't real. He was trying to be like a Troy Bolton moment where it's like, I'm sorry they bullied you, but it's still not real. And literally I went home and I cried so hard. But get this, it's funny now because another sad story is funny now because literally later on, like the next year, a couple months after that, he texted me and told me, he was like, you know, I actually had a crush on you when I would bike to your house every day. You what? So I literally got embarrassed by, I'm sure they told everybody what happened too. And they had this whole thing just for that to happen? Are you kidding me? Literally nothing ever happened with me and Troy Bolton because like, not my type, number one. And number two, like you're really gonna bully me and tell me you like me after? Like what is this, 2nd grade? What is this, Twitch? I don't know, that's crazy, that's crazy. So if you're in school right now and these things are happening to you, just remember, just wait. Because I swear to God, it always gets better. But yeah, so that story is crazy to me. I don't know what he's doing now. I feel like he's gonna be president one day for no reason. But I feel like I keep saying if you happen to see this, I'm so terrified of people from my school seeing this. I'm so terrified. Because they all think I'm a weirdo. So the last story that I want to tell is not me being bullied by a student, but by a teacher. Now, this was before middle school. So it was elementary school, I believe it was 4th grade, and I went to a Catholic school for the education. My parents moved me to that school. I forgot what happened the year before, but we needed to move schools. And my parents thought like, okay, better education. And I'm not religious, but I was Greek Orthodox at the time. And so we don't do things like confessions where like, you know, you sit, I don't even know really, you sit and you confess. We don't confess. So when I went to that school, the school had a thing, like they announced, they were like, okay, all of us are gonna do like confessions on like certain days, like certain grades are gonna do certain days, and you'll all go down and do your confessions. So when this happened, I told my teacher like, hey, like I don't do those, so I'm just gonna bring a book or like something to do and just like chill out. Cause I knew, my dad told me, he was like, they can't make you. And I was like, you can't make me. So this was the first moment where my teacher was like, oh, I don't like this girl. So my teacher, that was already just not a great start. It really wasn't. So after that happened, this teacher would find any reason, look for any reason to belittle me or bully me. So I'm not gonna show you my feet. I'm not. But it's like, these are my toes. Like I walk on like the upper half of my foot. Like if you're walking in a high heel, that's kind of how I walk around normally. Not as much anymore, but a lot when I was younger. And my teacher hated this. And she used to make me walk with books on my head through the hallway back and forth, even when nobody else had to. That one was for her. But she would make me walk back and forth with books on my head, or make me walk until I walked like correctly and yell at me all the time, or stop me in the hallway and tell me that I was doing it wrong. And she would just find any opportunity like that to just harass me. So this went on for a long period of time, and then I got bullied by students at that school and she didn't do anything about it. So besides that, I was done. I was done. I was at the end of my rope. I was young, but I was like, wow, this sucks. So I started just not really caring. Like I still cared, but I just started kind of like, you know, keeping to myself and like trying to like behave, I guess. And so at this time also, I loved school. I loved learning. I liked homework. Like I loved school. And I was a really intelligent kid. I don't know about now, but I was really smart when I was younger. So I like always did my homework with my parents downstairs, and one day I left it on the table downstairs. And my dad will confirm this, that I actually did do my homework, but I left it. And so after my teacher heard this, she sat down and she called me in front of the entire class and asked me, Aviva, will you please tell the class why you decided not to bring your homework today? Why you thought it was a good idea to just leave it at home? And so I'm standing there in front of all these kids who hate me. They hated me. And I looked at her and I was like, in religion class yesterday, didn't you tell me to always listen to God? And she said yes, because she did. And I looked at her dead in the eyes and I told her, I didn't bring my homework because God told me not to. And she loses it. The whole class is like, oh, and she loses it. Sends me to the principal's office and makes the principal call my dad. Now, my dad raised me as a little shit poster, so my dad is literally just like me, if not worse. So my dad comes in, leaves work, sits down, sitting there, and he's like, okay, please tell me what happened. And the teacher's in there now, and the teacher's telling the story, and she's mad. And she tells my dad what happens, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and I'm like, hey. And my dad goes, well, how do you know that God didn't tell her to bring her homework? How do you know that my daughter can't talk to God directly? And the principal goes, well, I don't know. And the teacher's losing it at this point. And my dad tells them, unless you can prove to me that my daughter did not speak to God, then I don't see the problem here. She did do her homework. It is on the table. She'll bring it tomorrow. And the teacher like tries to fight my dad a little bit, but I end up getting to go home early. Nice. And I don't think my dad has ever been so proud of me than in that moment. We went and got food afterwards, and also me telling this story, I told it on TikTok a while ago. He loves that you guys love this story, so yeah. I don't know, he's really happy that I tell stories about him and stuff, so I don't know. I really wanted to fit that in there, even though it's a teacher bullying me. I feel like it fits the theme of this video, but it's a good story and my dad's so proud of me for it. I don't know, like I can't believe a teacher bullied me. That's crazy. Wonder where she is now. You know? You ever think about that? So I'm gonna try to keep this video short because like I said, I did drop out of high school, and that is a separate video and a whole separate story that we can get into. But if you did like me talking about my experiences or just talking in general, be sure to follow me and subscribe. And then you can also check out my Twitch channel because I do stream twice a day. I do my makeup in the mornings and then I play games at night. So if you want to see me doing some of that, and then also I do talk about a lot of these stories on there as well. So you might catch them there before here. Like I know a lot of my regulars right now are like, we've heard this, but you know who hasn't? The people. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Be sure to check out all my social media, which is linked below. Yay. Oh my, I want to like end like stream. You know, I don't know, I feel like it's so weird not having people to say goodbye to directly. Also, napkin. Check me out filming. Check it out. Okay, bye.